G'day, Graham Chiswell here. Over the last month, I've asked a question I don't think I've ever asked before. It's a new question. As at City on a Hill, Melbourne, we've thought about the idea of Sabbath over this month. I've asked the question, how might we make Jesus known in Sabbath? I don't think it's something I've ever asked before, and it's a good question. It's been a good question for me to think about. I have a couple of thoughts, which I'd like to share with you. The first thing is, Jesus used the Sabbath to make himself known. That is, when he walked on earth, a lot of his interactions, particularly with religious authorities, was around the issue of Sabbath. They had a particular idea about it, and they turned it into a mere identity marker with lots of rules. And Jesus came through like a breath of fresh air and talked about using the Sabbath to show mercy. It was for human flourishing. The Sabbath was made for the good of humans. So he would heal people on the Sabbath. It was a means for him to show grace. He also claimed to be the Lord of the Sabbath. He said this great claim that he is the centre of the new covenant, this new thing that's coming in to replace the old religious system that was a shadow of the reality. Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath. He has a lot to do with the Sabbath. So how might our Sabbath keeping make Jesus known? Well, I think the two key things that we've thought about with Sabbath over the last month have everything to do with Jesus. The two things are Sabbath keeping is an expression of trust, and Sabbath keeping is an expression of joy. It's something that's a joyful thing to do. And I just think the way to make Jesus known in Sabbath is not a hard link to make. Because Sabbath is about trusting that God is God. He made the earth and he controls it. He sustains it. And we are limited creatures. And we can trust him. We can trust him for the things of life. We can trust him to take care of us and look after us. We don't need to work all the time. We don't need to strive after other things for purpose and meaning. God is creator, we are not. And the other thing is, it's particularly about enjoying and remembering the great salvation of God that we have in Jesus. Sabbath is a chance to reflect on the grace of God, not just in creation and looking after everyday needs, but in how he's looked after our soul, how he's provided for our soul, in sending his son to die for our sin, to bring us into full relationship with him, of pouring out his spirit on us and adopting us as his beloved children. We are fully known and deeply loved as Christians. That's something to be joyful about and to enjoy and remember, particularly on Sabbath. So I guess how we might make Jesus known on Sabbath is to, as we share with people, which is part of Sabbath, I think, it's not the only thing you might do on Sabbath, but to actually share Sabbath with others, whether they're Christian or not Christian, to actually be overt about our motivation. Those two things, trust and joy, that we not censor our language in our talking about those things as we Sabbath. So as we enjoy the good gifts of God's creation, it might be enjoying a picnic or enjoying nature or watching a sporting event. It could be going to a music event. It could be anything. We acknowledge the giver of that gift. This is not just some random alignment of the laws of nature that happens to be a pleasant experience. This is a gift from the hand of God. So talk about being blessed rather than being lucky, and just being able to say that. We, as Christians, we know who to thank. We know who to thank, and to do it regularly and out loud as we enjoy Sabbath with others. And the second thing is to speak about our motivation of knowing God and the security of knowing him, the purpose and meaning we found in him, the security of being known and loved in Jesus, the hope that we have of eternal rest with God forever, the fact that we no longer need to go after the idols that the world around goes after. because we know the Creator. We don't need to worship created things anymore. And again, to not just censor our language. This is what's happening in Sabbath. We're remembering these truths about God and about who we are in Jesus. There's some thoughts. I think the Sabbath has everything to do with knowing Jesus. So let's be overt in talking about that as we celebrate it with others.